Welcome, everyone, to episode 178 of Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name's Kevin. I'm here with Doug and Owen, and today we're talking about the end of Oak Street. But first, as always, we could talk about what we watched this week. Douglas, take it away.
Fuck. I watched.
He's not ready.
No, I'm not ready. God, I'm so
Doug's
not ready.
recording on his phone for reference, so he can't check his letterbox. Doug, do you want me to look your letterbox up?
Yeah, Kevin, tell me what Doug watched this
Yeah,
week.
can you tell me what I watched this week?
Yeah,
I
let
don't think
me
I watched a lot of
let
stuff
me
though.
see.
I
It's
This
the
is fucked up.
16th, so starting on the 9th, I guess. Well, also Doug wasn't here last week, so
Right.
there's some extra. I did want to
True.
ask you, Doug, you watched Blockers last week. I was wondering
Oh
if that was
right. Yeah.
inspired
Fuck.
by me watching Blockers or if you just watched that for
It
some
it it
other
was
reason.
it was inspired by you watching
Oh,
Blockers. We
wow.
were on Hulu,
Mm.
Uh-huh.
and Clara was like, "Wait, maybe we should watch Blockers because you had
I
just watched it."
when I saw you log it, I was like, I feel like you wouldn't like that movie. I explained on last week's podcast, I only watched it because I was with a group of people and we needed something to put on in the background that we weren't going to pay attention to. So it's just funny that you like watched it because of me. But
Yeah, I paid attention to it. And it's fine. It's like
yeah.
whatever. But
Okay.
like I will say all about blockers though, Ike Barinholt, um, stand out like a
Very
real,
talented,
really funny
funny
guy.
guy.
He plays
Yeah.
like the same character and everything. It seems like he's like because in blockers it's the same exact guy as in the studio,
A
but
little bit, yeah, for
he's
sure.
very funny. He
Yeah.
really, yeah.
I agree. You watched Bullet in the Head,
Oh
Bolt in the
shit.
head.
Yeah, Bullet in the Head, the John Woo movie.
John
Do you guys
Woo.
know what that movie's about?
No.
Not really.
It's
I
about the
know that people
Vietnam
like it.
War.
Oh.
Yeah, it's about these guys and they have to flee Hong Kong because they're criminals and they end up in Vietnam in the middle of the Vietnam War.
Mm, I
It's
see.
crazy as fuck.
It looks
Um,
crazy.
it's yeah, no, it's actually genuinely like very crazy. And then there's like a whole deer hunter sequence where they're prisoners of war by the Viet Cong. Um, and they have to do like not Russian roulette, but like something similar. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh yeah.
I
Um,
did watch that, didn't I? I forgot.
you did, yeah. You also watched
Mhm.
Manhunter, the Michael Mann film.
Oh yeah. Have you guys both seen Manhunter, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I have.
It's really good. I wasn't in love with Manhunter though. I felt like
I
bad
think that's
watching it.
fair.
Because like I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be a masterpiece. And like at the beginning of the movie, you like are instantly like, oh, the Michael Mannness of it all is coming at you, and it's like the his like commanding style is there, and you're like, fuck, it's so good. But then at the end of the movie, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, it's like baby Heat. It's like Heat Junior, you know?
Yeah, sure.
It's like, oh, he goes on to do a similar movie called Heat that is 100 times better at everything. Um, but
I
Manhunter's
think
good.
that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I really like that movie, but it's in a different tier than he, I guess. But that tier for me is still like
It's a great
that's
movie.
a
No,
high mark.
Manhunter is a great movie. It's also tough. There's so much baggage with it because Silence of the Lambs is like such an omnipresent movie, you
Yeah, it's a
know?
weird movie to watch for the first time after having seen Silence of the Lambs so many times.
Yeah.
Um, but there's
But
nothing you could do about that. And then you watched Kamikaze Girls.
oh fuck, I did watch Kamikaze Girls. Have you guys seen this?
No.
No.
It's so mid. It's okay. It's like it's so quirked up. The movie starts with the end of the movie and the main character's like, "Oh, I bet you wonder how I got in this situation." And then we reverse through the whole
Mm.
movie to the beginning
Uh,
and
is
it's
this is this like a never mind. I think I'm confusing this with a different movie. Disregard what I was gonna say.
but it's just about like two young girls. One of them's in a biker gang. It's like a found friendship story,
I
found love
see.
story. Like it's fine. It's okay. It's
Oh,
very quirked up though. The style is quirked up to 11. Um, yeah,
right.
no, Kamikaze Girls is okay. People they're shooters for that movie though.
I was gonna say it seems like people seem to like it. And then you watched the end of Oak Street, which we'll talk about in a bit. Owen,
Oh yeah.
what did you watch? I don't have to read your letterbox, do I?
Right, right. Yeah, I'm good. So I watched a few films that I won't talk about too much because we'll probably be talking about them either next week or in the near future. Uh, that being Tony and Teenage Sex and Death. But I did both I like both of those movies. It was a weird such like Tony was actually a
Screen Unseen.
yes, it was like
Yeah.
and I've never gone to one of those because most of them are like awful. They're like every time I
Yeah.
hear about them, it's like it's basically like a Trojan horse to watch the piss and shit movie.
Yeah, it's
And
the new Eli
um
Roth movie, the new Ryan Reynolds movie.
yeah, it's like so it's like a mystery box, but the 99% of the time it's a bad movie. But everyone on Twitter was like, it's Tony, it's Tony. And I was like, fine, I'll go. Because my local theater like doesn't have any like Tony screen times listed for the next like when it's supposed to come out. So it's like I don't know how I'm gonna see Tony otherwise. So I'm gonna give this a shot, and if it's some bullshit, I'll just either if it like locks me in the first whatever, maybe I'll stay. But I was sort of prepared to be like Tony or bust here. And it was Tony, which was cool. It was a weird sort of feeling. I kind of enjoyed the idea. Actually, the only time I think I brought this up before, but the only time I've ever been in that sort of situation was when Michelle Yeoh was up for an Oscar, and my local independent cinema was doing like Michelle Yeoh Mondays or something, but they didn't have the rights to like advertise the movies. Like they were kind of like illegally
Oh.
showing these
Yeah,
Michelle
it was
Yeoh
like
movies.
Cop 2 and
So
stuff.
it was
Yeah.
super. I think 3. Police,
Okay.
police. Was it Police Story 3? But so they were like, it's a Michelle Yeoh movie. We can't tell you what Michelle Yeoh movie it is. It's gonna be on 35 millimeter. You just show up at midnight, or I think it was a midnight screening, and then you figure it out. And I had seen Police Story 1. I think this is what it was.
It was Police Story 3. That makes sense. That's
Yeah. So I've seen Police Story 1. That I still have to this day have not seen the second one, but I saw the third one like that because I would have seen the second one if I knew I was gonna go see the third one. But I just like that's one of my favorite theater experiences because it was like you show up and like that had more of like a there's programming this movie and they're programming something people that they think people will like rather than like this is like a studio trying to get people to watch a movie that they might not watch. And obviously it was on print, but yeah, it was cool with Tony. And it was funny because like you could tell when the A24 logo popped up, I knew what movie I was watching, but there was like people in the theater slowly realizing what movie it was, and some people it took them a little longer than I felt like was reasonable. But it was just kind of silly the first 10 minutes of the movie, observing people sort of maybe not 10 minutes, maybe like 5 minutes, because he like it opens and he's like big, he's like says he does say his name is like Tony in the first minute, but I don't think people got it even then. It was like you would slowly notice people like really took them a long time to recognize what movie they were playing. But yeah, cool movie. And then I watched The Aviator's Wife at home, the Eric Romer movie. And I really like the sort of you've seen this one, Kevin, right?
I have, yeah.
The structure and the sort of it's like a pretty, I mean, Eric Romer movies aren't like overly complicated, but I like the sort of how we maneuver from characters to character in this one. Like the majority of the movie is this guy spying on these people, and then he like meets this other girl and he's talking to her while he's spying on these other people, and they're just like in the park. And it's not my favorite Romer, but I felt like there was a lot of stuff in the movie that just felt very like attuned to my senses, and I quite enjoyed it for that. But yeah, good movie. Then I watched The End of Oak Street, and then I watched Teenage Sex and Death, which I saw on 35, which I feel like is the movie feels so made to see like that. Like it feels I have to see it like on a DCP to like compare, but it just feels like a movie that you are watching at like a midnight screening on 35, and like that is the perfect sort of format for it. I did see it like there was like the first screening at this theater, and it was on print, and it was like sold out, and definitely like a rowdy crowd in a way that like, you know, I think the movie does like sort of invite its audience to sort of play along with it in that way, but definitely a lot of like from the opening title sequences, just people like laughing and sort of having a good time. But cool movie, and we'll talk about it more in future episodes. Marie Antoinette, I checked out. Just got a Criterion thingy that got announced, but I've seen
I
this
don't know
before.
why I laughed so hard seeing Doug reply to the Criterion announcement.
What do you say?
Because it was like Marie Antoinette, and then it was like K-pop Demon Hunter.
Oh, right. I've seen this movie before. It's been like a year or so. But I was just like scrolling on Netflix, I think, or some streaming service, and it was just it popped up, and I was like, oh, like a real, because you know, I feel like most time you're like scrolling through the garbage just looking for like a real movie on those things. So I was like, oh, this is like something that we could watch, and like I'd actually enjoy it. And that's kind of like that movie is really good. Really incredible movie. In a way of like, I think there's I was thinking about our conversation about the Odyssey, and how we were sort of talking about the movie that does not want you to know it's a movie. And I think a lot of movies that are period pieces, especially like hundreds of years ago, there's a common goal in a lot of those films where they don't want you to know it's a movie. They want you to be like, they want you to sort of be enter that world as if it was like you're just looking through a mirror or a sort of window. But I think what happens is I tend to be super bored because the filmmaking is super like, we don't want you to be thinking about this as a movie. I think Marie Antoinette is like the perfect opposite of that, where it is like so a movie and so stylized and so Sofia Coppola, and yeah, and it's so, this is an artist's sort of interpretation and vision of this, and to me that's so much more fun than watching a movie that's trying to be like, this is historically accurate and we don't want you to think about the filmmaking, and it's so like rooted in like.
Do you have examples?
Like I do. I honestly think a lot of it is like TV and like random like British. Like I just feel like, I don't know. I struggle for an example because it's often things I'm just like, I don't want to even touch that, and I don't even want to.
No, that's fine. I just thought like the way that you were speaking, it sounded like you were like trying to like talk shit.
No,
about
I wasn't. I'm not. But I don't have a specific thing in mind. I just, from experience, I just, or just like, it's often things that I'm like, I don't even get through this, or I sort of avoid. But like my like sort of The Crown or but again, I get those certain things. It's like I just haven't engaged enough with it to totally like be like, this is the example, because I often just get sort of bored of those things.
Yeah, I don't think you'd like The Crown very much.
But but I just do, at least from personal experience, I do find period pieces to try to be less flashy in their filmmaking, and not to say that this is like, I guess, I don't know, it does, Marie Antoinette does feel flashy to me. Like it just does feel like a very pop film, and it opens with this like sort of pink title cards and the music. But even I think the best moments of the movie are when it tries to almost be like, it's like shot almost as like an episode of The Office or something, or it's like very like documentary, and where there's a great shot of Marie Antoinette, and she's like in this like cart thing, and she's just blowing on the glass, and she's like just play. It's just, you know, there's the humanizing of the characters and stuff. I don't know, phenomenal movie, and I think wish Sofia Coppola would make more movies. But there's a few I want to see. I want to see the Elle Fanning movie. I watched the end of Oak Street again, And then I was listening to, because of Tony, I was listening to Matt Johnson's Big Picture episode on Nirvana the band.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I should watch Blackberry because I haven't seen that movie yet. And it's an interesting movie. I think Glenn Howerton is like really awesome in that movie. But it's an interesting movie in terms of like his filmography, because it feels like the sort of perfect middle film, and in terms of like the Nirvana the band stuff and even like the Dirties and then Tony, where I think like I find it to be like almost in the middle of those in a way that like is a fault of not a I feel like a fault is maybe too negative, but like I find it being like, I think the Nirvana the band and stuff works so much more in Nirvana the band, and Tony is like the language of Tony is more separate. And like I think it feels like immediately the Blackberry starts and it's like, oh, this is like, it does feel like an episode of The Office where like this sort of the zooms and the sort of documentary filmmaking feel
That's the
more
Nirvana the
out of
band show,
place. What?
But that's also like Nirvana the band. The
Right,
show.
but it
Yeah.
because it's in an office building and they're doing like, this is a story about Blackberry, it feels more out of place, may not be the right, but like just more like it feels like they're doing that kind of filmmaking in a sort of world that might require or may be better serviced with a different type of shooting style. Where like Tony is just it's shot by Michael Bauman, and it's sort of the language is very different. And so there's just an obvious direct lineage of those things, and I think looking at all of it, I think there's I'm glad and I'm interested in sort of where he goes with it, because I think Matt Johnson being more versatile in the ways that he's shooting movies and approaching movies is for the best. Like if he just only shot in this one style for everything he did, I think it could get really old really quick. But I still think the movie's. I think Blackberry is good. But I think Tony is a better movie because of the
Because it looks like a movie.
almost experimental, like we're doing a normal movie thing. Where I think of like Gus Van Sant's like quote about Good Will Hunting, whereas like that movie was like really difficult and sort of experimental because I was trying to make a movie that I'm not normally making. So that I think, yeah, and he does joke. I guess Matt Johnson does joke about him that being a real movie, Tony. But yeah, but I think Blackberry is cool. I think it's just a different flavor for sure. But I'm interested to see. He's got like 3 or 4 things in the sort of either he's shooting now or like in sort of pre, very much like a seemingly building up to be like a sort of defining director of this period in sort of pop cinema. But very cool stuff. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.
I didn't watch a ton because I was moving, but I watched To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, which is a really long title. It was just like a really sweet movie. It's just like Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, and John Leguizamo play drag queens, and they're all really good in it. Specifically, I would say Patrick Swayze is like that's the guy. It's just like a really sweet movie. I didn't realize where it was gonna go because the description is like essentially like they win a contest to go to the like they win like a regional contest to go to like the championship in LA or whatever, and then they do a road trip. And so in the description of the movie, it says it's going to be like a road trip movie to like across the country to LA, but they make it into like Pennsylvania and get stuck in this town, and then like the whole movie is just them in this town. I thought it was going to be like a 5-minute scene, and then you realize like, oh, the whole movie is just going to be them staying in this like town, this very rural town with people who are not accepting of them. And then it just becomes like a really sweet, funny movie. And I had a really good time watching it, and it feels like something that everybody would like and enjoy and should watch. And then I watched Anatomy of a Murder with Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy Stewart's very good in this movie. It is it's interesting because I tend to really like watching like courtroom drama or like legal thrillers or like anything, I guess you'd say like true crime adjacent. But this movie is a little bit less interested in having like a super winding, like twisty case involved, like the actual murder and all that stuff. It's not like, it's not like Zodiac where it's like some big mystery or like a, like a TV shows will do like every episode is like a new twist that adds to the case. Like the movie's not really like that, and it's not really interested in being that. It's way more like condemning the justice system by way of like showing how lawyers can sway a case, like how just like being good at your job as a lawyer is kind of like the difference between whether somebody is innocent or guilty, and not actually the truth of whether they're innocent or guilty, which is an interesting movie in its own. Like if that sounds interesting to you, then I think you would really enjoy it. If you're looking for like a courtroom drama that's very twisty and like throws a lot of surprises at you, it might disappoint you. I don't know. I think it's a very good movie though, and Jimmy Stewart is like incredible. But those are really the only two movies I watched. And then a lot of TV. I started watching Widow's Bay, which a lot more comedy than horror. They said it was kind of like a horror comedy. I guess that's just the way those things go. Like whenever something's a horror comedy or like advertised as a horror comedy, it's really just mostly a comedy. Like I'm granted I've only watched 2 episodes. Maybe it gets a lot scarier, but it's to me so far I've mostly just been laughing and not very scared. But we'll see where it goes. Anyway, and then I watched The End of Oak Street, which we can talk about. The End of Oak Street.
Yes.
It's the new David Robert Mitchell movie, starring Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor, in a neighborhood that has mysteriously been picked up and placed in prehistoric times.
Big ass neighborhood, also.
Kinda, is it?
It feels like
it's just like a circle of a suburb. It's just like
it does
500 houses.
I guess.
I don't know.
It's just like it just looks like when they show the like wide of the neighborhood, it's just like that just looks like a suburb to me.
No, the wide of the neighborhood is like endless rows of houses.
Sure.
It just feel when they're sort of, to really jump into it, like it does feel like when there's sort of the dinosaurs are and they're running around, it does feel like there's not too much area for them.
Yeah, it feels much smaller on the ground than it does when you see the overview.
But I also think it, when you're sort of surrounded by killing monsters, it can probably feel a little more claustrophobic than it.
Sure.
It does feel like it's not a part of the movie, but it does feel like well, I guess it's not, but it just does feel like the prehistoric stuff is like swallowing it. But it's
right,
that's not really like
getting,
it does feel like
it's more than
like
just like them.
It feels like the fucking the Fortnite zone is like shrinking in on them. But that's not a part of the movie. But there's like a shot of them like in this like random house, and the walls are like cut off for the the plants have sort of taken over half the building, and it does feel like it's like coming in, but that's just the luck of the draw, I guess, in terms of how that where that house was placed on the sort of, because it is when they show the wide, it is like this like perfect circle that is sort of cropped them out.
That yeah.
Yes.
Well, the like logic of the world, or like
I mean,
explaining anything is just not part of the
no, I know,
movie.
but it's interesting to sort of
it's interesting. I don't
I
personally,
not even like I'm not even meaning in terms of like logic braining it. I'm just sort of there's a to even think about like the little things in terms of the, because it does leave a lot sort of open on purpose in terms of like the
like how, like, you
it's
mean like
not
how it
I mean
happened?
it's not it does not the point, the film doesn't care about like, or it doesn't, yeah, I mean any of it really. I mean
Yeah.
it's not like supposed to be like
No, it's
not a
way more.
solvable.
Yeah, it's not. It's not interested at all in explaining like the
No.
situation.
It is. Wait, hold on. Like a non-insignificant amount of the movie is them explaining the situation, though.
Where?
To a point,
What do you mean where?
maybe.
Like 30% of the dialogue.
Oh, sure. Well, like explaining the situation they're in, but not like you don't like
So-
learn anything about how like
No, the girl like
oh, the girl is
explains
like,
the
yeah, sure, yeah,
wormholes and
I guess,
Right,
yeah.
but
That's not even really like that's not like a clear answer though.
yeah, she's just like sort of she's riffing. She's like, well, there, and it is kind of this like they're in that sequence, and it's like there's this like this science religion sort of positioning of the house where she's sort of reasoning it, but I don't know if the film is saying this is exactly what is happening in this moment.
I guess it could be.
It could be, but again, I don't think the film. I don't think the
is.
film is like this is what happened, and that's important for you to be like this is what happened, and this is why it happened,
Yeah.
and because even the when they're like running around towards the end, and these like the sort of bubbles that they have to jump into, they're kind of like, well, it's fucking random, and we have to like sort of just try, because it's like we can't really sort of predict how this is going to happen. Yeah.
But I guess sure. I guess like when she says that they're wormholes or whatever, that is just like the answer. I don't know that.
Which is fine. It's fine if it is.
I don't know if that's
but again, I'm not like it doesn't feel like something that like is totally important. I think like I know Kevin will have like a sort of a little bit of a different I guess not even the importance of the film, but what I'm interested in the movie. It's like the sort of the science or the dinosaurs or any of that is like not the sort of forefront of my like sort of relationship with the movie.
That's all I'm saying is like, if I get what you're saying, which is that the girl explains that it's like a wormhole thing, but that can't actually be what's happening in the movie, because that's not like she's like, oh, we got taken from this time to a different time, but then the time that they get taken to is like, that's not a time. Like, that's like the dinosaurs that are in the movie are just like, several like millions of years apart from each other or whatever. So that's just like, that's not how time travel works. So that's what I mean. Like, I think the movie is just like, they get, obviously, like she explains in like some exposition like how this might have happened, but I just like, I think that just like has to be there, and then the movie, like, and all the other logic just goes out the window. Like how dinosaurs who are from two different periods are both in the same world is irrelevant to the filmmaker and to me and everybody else. Like, that's not really important.
They're taking. I mean,
you noticing it is crazy. You noticing it is crazy.
Well, no, I only know. I don't know.
It doesn't matter to me, but it's so obvious. It's like, bro, like, what the hell are you talking about?
Well, okay, because I only noticed it. I only noticed it because of the Titanoboa, the like, the big snake looking thing like that's that because if you just like showed me dinosaurs, like I don't just like memorize
that one's a very
off the top
specific
of my
looking
head.
guy.
That's a very like that's not a dinosaur that you usually see in movies, and I know for a fact that that one is not from the same period as most of the other like
Right.
or I think any of the other land dinosaurs. Like I think that Titanoboas existed after dinosaurs on land. Like the only dinosaurs that were still alive at the time of the Titanoboa were like aerial dinosaurs, like flying dinosaurs. Anyway, if that thing wasn't in it, I wouldn't have just like been like, oh well, actually.
Like, but I think that's where like it becomes like I know you're not arguing like against.
I'm not arguing that it's a fault of the movie. I'm just saying
right.
that, like,
but I'm just saying
he's
like
not interested in that, and nobody else should be
I
either,
think,
unless you're a fucking nerd.
Of course, but I think like it's specifically with that dinosaur, it becomes very clear like that it's a much cooler movie if you're like just like let's put the cool ones in here.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Like that is like that sequence I think is phenomenal, and I think that one's such a memorable dinosaur in this movie that like separates it from like some of the other dinosaur films just on terms of like what kinds of dinosaurs we're seeing.
Yeah, I don't know. As somebody who enjoys a dinosaur, I think they picked some cool ones. I think they threw some curveballs. You know, he was just like, I wonder if he really did just like kind of cycle through a book or like online and was just like looking at ones that looked like they would be fun to put in a movie, because that must have been how he landed on something like that.
I haven't listened to too much of him, David Robert Mitchell, talking about the dinosaur stuff, but I think like vaguely he said something along the lines of like, I think like they almost worked backwards in terms of like, you know, like, okay, let's try to think about like a sequence of sort of shots and sort of these situations that we can put these characters in, and then like what dinosaur could fit best in a sequence like this. And then like instead of being like, all right, we have all these dinosaurs, let's try to make a sequence out of those. Which obviously that the sluggy guy is just sort of operating in a different way that other dinosaurs wouldn't be able to sort of exist in a sequence. It's very like, I mean, you know, it's huge too, but it's like wrapping itself around that house. And it does a great job of like, well, one, like even if you just had that dinosaur in a different movie, it wouldn't, like, to put it in, I guess the whole movie is this kind of contrast of the suburban areas and the houses with the dinosaurs. And that one fits really well in terms of like fitting itself through the window and then down the stairs and stuff.
When that guy's beating his head against the door, that was crazy.
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah. No, it's pretty great. And then and then Anne Hathaway stabs the shit out of it like 900 times.
I was almost wondering if there were like things in it that were just like made up at a certain point. Like I was wondering if like some of the dinosaurs that were in it were just like his own inventions, because even that thing, have you guys ever seen a legless lizard before? Do you know what a legless lizard looks like?
No.
It looks exactly like that thing. And I was like, I wonder if he just took a legless lizard and was like, what if we made this really big and it has nothing to do with like
well, like in terms of the eyes on this thing.
Yeah, it's like the exact same thing. I was watching a video last week of Robert Irwin talking about legless lizards, and I was like, those things look cool. And then I watched the movie and I was like, that looks exactly like
a huge
but I don't know. There's like certain things where I'm like, I've never seen this before. I wonder if they literally just like made things up, but maybe it's
I feel like
they're all accurate.
They totally could. And it is an interesting thing, like where like this movie is in many ways like a movie that like was I think there was like early reports of like test screening versions or early versions being like closer to 3 hours long.
Interesting.
Where there was, which I think like the movie rips by and like I think is a lot better because of it. I wouldn't be like, oh, I didn't leave the movie being like, I wish I wish this movie was 3 hours long,
Yeah,
right?
that's
I think the movie is so perfect at the length it is. But I assume there was like just tons of different like set pieces with just different dinosaurs that they ended up axing. Because there was like I don't remember what, I think it was just an image that they released, but it was like an early image of some dinosaur in the basement, the flooded basement. Which I'm sure was a cool set piece.
Like when she opened it, it would have just like come out of there.
I don't know. I don't know what how it would have operated in the film, but there was like a teaser of something in the water. But it's because I think they pushed. I mean, I remember this movie supposed to come out.
Like
I don't remember how long they pushed it out, but it was like pushed back, and I think they kind of just let David Robert Mitchell like, you know, really take his time with how he wanted to edit it down and stuff, and like through test screenings and all of that stuff. So it's an interesting like sort of artifact in like studio filmmaking and sort of its journey through sort of all those cuts and stuff. And it's getting like, it's an interesting example of like, I think we're getting a couple of these this year with like where it's like popular with critics, but like not making like crazy money. And that's
or even being that well received by audiences.
I think it's like generally positive. I think it was like a B. Like it's not like people will be like, this is the best movie ever, but it's like not like people will be like, this sucks.
A B
There's definitely
is really good.
Yeah, I think
I just feel like I've seen like a lot of negativity, but maybe that's just like where I've been looking.
I think it's overall positive, but I think in terms of like, there's a lot of critics that are being like, this movie is really great, and then it's like making like $2 million or something. Like it's an interesting, like, I don't know how, like, and I think it's like, okay, there's Spider-Man and the Odyssey right now, where it's like fighting against those movies.
Bro,
and then like I just
is making so
like
much
$3 billion.
It's
I do think too, it's like I feel like the legs might be pretty decent, but just because of like word of mouth. But like the marketing on this movie, it did not set it up to have a big opening weekend. Like the people who've seen it are like the Oak Street. The people who have seen the movie are like pretty positive on it, but like how many people have seen it? I think my theater was pretty.
Yeah, the marketing for the movie is its own conversation.
Right.
Fucking terrible.
Were your theaters like decently packed?
My theater was full.
My theater was pretty packed. Well, okay, so like there were a lot of empty seats in our row because people didn't show up, but
they bought tickets.
But they bought tickets. That actually happened a little bit with mine too.
But like Cam Walsh, friend of the podcast and friend of the people, he texted in our group chat and was like, I know that movies are back, and he was talking about how you can't get seats 15 minutes before showtime for End of Oak Street. I had a similar situation where I usually buy.
You waited.
Sometimes I wait like really late to buy tickets because it's like it's always fine, you know.
Yeah.
And it was not fine for End of Oak Street. We had to sit in like, fucked up seats.
That's interesting.
Right. Because I feel it's a weird thing where it's like I feel like everything I'm hearing about the movie and my personal experience, and then just seeing the numbers, feel like I'm in two different worlds. Where I'm like, I feel like people are talking about this movie, people are liking this movie. I saw the movie, people were like cheering or like people were like audibly sort of reacting to it and having a good time. Maybe people didn't like it, but they sort of were engaging with it and they were there. And then it's like $2 million or whatever.
Yeah, I know. I think I always struggle to make sense of the numbers because like I'm just in like a population dense area. So it's like I have to remind myself that, you know, in other places in the country, there could be theaters where 0 people are showing up to watch this movie. Whereas like in for most movies coming out,
I think it might do
my
fine.
theater's going to be full.
I just think it's tough because it's like, I think it's $90 million budget where it's like, then you have to make like $400 million or some bullshit. Which I don't know if it will do that.
I was thinking of watching the movie. I have a hard time with this movie, but we don't need to talk about it.
I'm actually
we're gonna talk about it. We weren't gonna like not talk about it.
Me and Kevin like both sort of wrote, or I sort of at least wrote something about it and both gave it sort of higher ratings, and then you sort of give your very like 3-star no talking. I don't want to talk about this movie. And we kind of this is like the talking about the movie podcast, so we do have to bring it up.
This is the talking about the movie podcast.
Yeah, this is the talking about the movie podcast. I was thinking about watching the movie. In the first half of watching the movie, and then I don't know. I was like, this movie's kind of weird. But in the first half of watching
it is
the
a weird movie.
I was thinking like, oh, this is a really great business idea. Where like we want to make like a big kind of like spectacle dinosaur movie, right?
Yeah.
But and not like Jurassic Park where we're gonna put the people in like this crazy setting. It's gonna
Yeah.
be in a neighborhood with just a couple of like dinosaurs in each shot instead of every shot needing to be completely created, right? You could just shoot in a house or like a
Yeah.
like a
Right.
soundstage of a house
Well,
would be easier to make, you
they-
know, like
They did like I was listening to like there was one interview where they were talking about like basically David Rob Mitchell was talking about if it's all green screen, you're doing artificial on artificial. You're bringing something fake and you're putting it on a fake world where it was very important for him to find a neighborhood and shoot on location so then they could bring the fake stuff into reality. And even it was super important. They were talking about I think like who's the guy who produced the movie? J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams was talking about like there was location scouts in Australia even, and they were looking everywhere. And David Rob Mitchell was very like, I don't want to be shooting in Australia. Like this is obviously sort of an American suburbs movie. Like I want to find something that felt right to him. And obviously, it being a location was a big part of that. The sort of, I mean, it's very much a movie about the location that they're in.
J.J. Abrams loves the 90s or 80s rather.
Yeah.
He loves some kids riding bikes.
Yes,
about that
yes.
too.
But I think also it's very much a movie that David Robert Mitchell's making about his childhood and when he grew up. And I think when you're having a filmmaker that was born in 74, that's gonna happen.
Right. That's just what it is. Yeah.
It's like I think that's just a lot of the sort of the reasonings behind the period it's in. Is just like you're working with a 50-something-year-old filmmaker, and which to me it's like it's like there's a little like there's a shot of the kids like on the bike like coming up the hill, and it's very reminiscent of those movies during that period. But I think it stands on its own enough for me in terms of the language and stuff where I'm not like, I don't think it's like sort of chained back by sort of it being like there's obviously going to be talks about Spielberg in that 82, 80s era of filmmaking. But I think it is able to sort of be its own thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you disagree?
No, I think it is kind of its own thing. My thing, I don't know.
No, come on.
No, I don't know.
Play ball.
I don't dislike the movie, but I don't know if I have a lot of nice things to say about it also. You know what I mean?
So say the not nice things.
I had like I think that the set pieces were pretty good. And I think that's the thing where people are like, "Oh, it's the first good dinosaur movie since Jurassic Park." I don't know if that's true or not, just because there's such a big period of time between those movies.
What
But,
other dinosaur movie?
well, that's why I'm like, I don't know. But like, does any movie that have a dinosaur in it count? What about 65?
That's not a better movie.
That's not you. You really don't want to use that as the benchmark for
No, I know.
success.
If 65 was really great, they would be saying that about 65.
Oh, are you
Oh.
saying doesn't I haven't seen it, but
Like
doesn't,
Tree of Life?
Tree of Life have a dinosaur in it?
Yeah, like the Tree of Life has a whole.
Yeah,
sequence,
I don't
but
think
that's
I don't
not-
think
I
that
don't-
counts.
I think
I
this
don't think
movie's
that
like
counts.
way more
But the set pieces with the monsters,
yes.
I think are all really good.
Mhm.
Where I kind of start bouncing is I think something that you probably really got into, Owen, is like
Yeah.
the relationships in the movie.
Sure.
Where I'm like, wow, do any of the characters like any of the other characters? And I'm like so like
Interesting.
we have
Really?
this thing where like the whole backbone, the emotional backbone of the movie is the marriage of Anne
Yes.
Hathaway and Ewan
Ewan
McGregor.
McGregor.
Ewan McGregor, he's doing crazy voice work in this movie. I don't know what the hell
He
is
is
going
so
on.
funny. It's very funny because I watched this movie and all I can think about is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio,
Mhm.
because I mean, it's his voice, but he sounds like the exact same in that movie. And I just, if I close my eyes, I would just be like, why is like Jiminy Cricket talking to me
Yeah.
right now in this movie? Um, yeah, it's odd when like I think I leave the movie both times. Well, the second time I was really thinking about it a lot because the second watch I was like, to me he's like a neutral in the movie, but I was like, if I were to make this movie that I love, if I were to make this movie a better movie, the
Mhm.
one thing I would do is like, who do we replace Ewan McGregor with to sort of because you Anne Hathaway is sort of this A-list actor who's giving it a lot, and how do we sort of balance that? And I really I sort of I bounced around a lot of ideas, and I was just like, man, why didn't Adam Driver do this dinosaur movie? You
Oh,
know,
Adam
like
Driver would have been so good in this actually.
it's just very funny that like because 65 is just, I don't know what the budget on that movie was, but a smaller movie with like a less notable filmmaker. And like there's no way he would have done another dinosaur movie
Yeah.
after that movie. But I was just like, that's what I sort of
Especially
eventually got into, where I was like, Adam Driver and Hathaway sort of having this sort of messy marriage on the backdrop of this sort of like, to me, what I really love, it makes me think of M Night a lot, is like the dinosaur aspects of this movie is it's very B movie to me. It is very like, let's shoot the shit out of this B movie concept and have movie star like really awesome actors in it, and that to me is like awesome. That's like kind of what I want to see in terms of a big blockbuster movie. Where I'm like, all of this like sci-fi dinosaur stuff is ridiculous, and we're jumping through these bubbles, and dinosaurs are like killing random people in this neighborhood, and Anne Hathaway is like really trying and acting her ass off, and like that is so fun. But yeah, I think so. Like in terms of like the movie, I think like the way it's shot and the way it's sort of constructed and everything, I have no problems with. I just like in terms of like how do I make this movie a little better. I think like the dad being played by like an S tier actor would sort of fly really into the sun. But again, I think that Ewan is he's weird in this movie, where I'm almost like, that's fun. It's more fun that than if it was like this the performance is like really unrememberable, because I'm every time he says something I'm like, this is, I'm thinking about it, and it's like it's kind of bizarre, but I feel like I'd rather that than like a performance that's so I'd forget about it instantly. Where like he's doing, he should him his inclusion of the movie is bizarre and the movie's bizarre, where I'm accepting of it, but I do think again, like a really crazy perform like S tier performance would of course make a
it
better movie.
it feels like the movie has like there's like parody qualities to the movie. I was thinking about like This Is the End a little bit,
Yeah, yeah.
where it's kind of like getting
Like
into like
and the way people
that kind
die.
of, yeah, and the way that people die and like the situations that they're in and how the characters respond to the situations,
Sure.
like how absurd it gets. And
Yeah.
it feels like Ewan McGregor is kind of on that wavelength. And
Mm.
then Anne Hathaway is there, not like not on that, but like Anne Hathaway is like trying to slip into this like, no, this
Different.
relationship
Yeah.
matters
Right.
actually.
Well,
And I was, yeah.
I think that is sort of, I mean, there's a really interesting, to me, I really love this aspect of their characters where they're both confronted with issues or problems, and they both have their very different ways of handling it, and they're really struggling to sort of get on the same page. Where he is sort of Mr. Optimism will figure it out, and she's like, well, there's problems happening here, we have to sort of talk about them and like really be honest about like the situation. And I think like one of my favorite scenes of the movie is when they're just in their sort of, I think there's their bedroom, and they're like yelling at each other. I think like they're both really great in that that sequence. And yeah, I don't know. All of it really, all of that stuff really works for me. I don't think it's like the best written movie of all time, but I just think they're really, Anne Hathaway is really making me believe in the situation and the sort of emotional stakes of these characters. And I think the kids do a really good job as well, as being like, just, you know, they're kids in this sort of, it reminds me, I thought about Invaders from Mars, a Toby Hooper film, which is, it basically, you're a kid and aliens have taken over your neighborhood and everyone you know is an alien now, and you're a kid and what do you do with that? And just like the sort of idea of putting these young kids in a situation where they are scared, lost, and confused, and they're sort of, in this situation, they're looking towards their parents for sort of reassurance and being like you're my parent, you're supposed to protect me and you're supposed to make sure everything's all right. And then the parent is like, well, this is like a situation that like I was not prepared for, and how can you be prepared for this? And I'm struggling to sort of keep my family safe. And there's the scene where Anne Hathaway sort of freaks out because she's like, she can't sort of she doesn't know what to do.
Well, in the scene where they're all talking the day after, and basically the conclusion
when there's like the split diopter, like
yeah,
the
where the
circle.
split diopters, yeah, which is fun. That was cool. I wish the movie kind of went there formally a little bit more, but
It
I like
does
those
feel like
shots.
someone mentioned that it does sort of maybe front load some of that stuff, and
Well,
like
it does like that similar kind of composition, like a bunch at the beginning, and then it just
yeah.
like is like
And
shot a
I
little bit more
and I
standardized.
wonder, it makes me think now that I've talked about the sort of the cutting down of the movie, I wonder if like, well, you have this 2.5 hour cut and it is sort of like consistent more, but then you're like, okay, well, when we're cutting, what is like the most important thing here?
Right.
And like you might lose some of the split diopters or fun framings or, you know, technical stuff, but in terms of a narrative like rhythm, you know, what is more important? So I could see that being the thing, but I also wondered the sort of logistics on like, because when the dinosaurs come in, it's more of like, it's just a different thing you're shooting there, and like the logistics of doing some of that sort of those techniques with these sort of special effects and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But in that scene, Ewan McGregor was like, "Don't worry, guys. We're gonna figure it out. Everything's gonna be fine." And then Anne Hathaway was like, "You don't know that. You can't tell the kids that everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Everything's probably not gonna be fine." And it's like, okay, should we all kill ourselves right now? Like, what was she doing? Like, why are you like what? Like, shut up. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I was thinking
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting, like, there's this sort of house divided of how we sort of approach anything.
Yeah, I get what
really.
Doug's saying though, is that's not really like a
Sure.
realistic divide for a house to have. It's just like one guy is like the ultimate optimist and the other one is like, okay, well, we might as well fucking kill ourselves.
Well, it makes
Fair.
you feel like, it made me feel like while watching the movie where I was like, I don't understand why they like each other. And then the thing where it's like, oh, they like really connect and they're strong together, and I was like really? Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like you guys like each other. And then I'm thinking, like, when he's gone, I'm like, Anne Hathaway definitely doesn't like these kids. Like, who the fuck are these kids? You know? Like, I don't know.
I
Yes.
guess. I don't know. I would probably sway closer to Owen in that, like, I could see how maybe a different casting for the dad would make the movie better. I don't know that I ever really like felt a disconnect between them and their kids.
No.
Maybe
I think
wasn't
that's a bit
looking hard enough
cynical.
for it.
Like,
I don't
sort of
know,
look on
but yeah, I mean, I get, no, I kind of get what you're saying, but I don't know. I think the kids were kind of a like really strong part of the movie to me.
Mhm.
I think they just kind of Like,
I don't know. Their dumbass fail son. I'm like, you gotta leave him behind. Like, you gotta let him get eaten
yeah,
by
but
a
like I kind
dinosaur,
of
bro.
is that not like what you want out of that character
Yeah,
though?
what do
Like, I
you
don't
want? You want him to be
like, do you want him to be? You want him to be like a survivalist and like a genie who's just like killing dinosaurs? Like, it's like I don't know. That's just like the
He's a
character just
kid.
is what it is, you know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
me, I was like the kids are the strongest part of the movie because these are just like kids in an 80s movie. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they're just like it felt like what I wanted them to be. I texted Owen after and I was like the scene where the daughter like gets in the car in the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
garage and plays the
It's
music.
it's a great scene.
I was like, I got really emotional during that because I was like, this just feels like a real, like, I don't know. To me,
Right.
that I think their characterizations were a lot better than the adults. Actually, like I think that obviously the
They were more
performances
fleshed
aren't as good
out.
as
Yeah,
Anne
yeah, yeah.
Hathaway, but like as characters, the kids are much more interesting characters, I thought, than the adults, and
right.
they
Which I
really matched
also
like what I think are 80s blockbuster characters.
not
This
to
shit is
keep
also
like
insane dog propaganda.
Oh, sure. We needed. I had the
Well,
dog in
it's
my notes.
It is
Multiple
interesting.
scenes of cats being eaten, and this dog is just thugging it out the whole time.
It is
saving the day.
interesting. I don't know. I keep like sort of going back to this, and maybe it's not the best like sort of device of how we sort of engage with the film, but because there was this sort of conversation about a longer version of the film, it does feel like more dog and more kids would have been where like it would have went, because it does feel like there's sometimes like it feels like they're setting up more with those things, like where like the dog isn't in the movie as much as I thought the dog was going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
And maybe that has to do with the AI dog podcast and just the way that the sort of marketing
They
was.
cut it like a week before.
No, not because like that happened.
Yeah, they
I just
cut
felt
out
like
the AI
because
dog
they
podcast.
because they used that as a marketing thing, and because like Starbuck is sort of does feel like a crucial element to the family, and I know him being gone is like a big part of it. It just felt like he was more important than he actually was in the movie, and he just not isn't in it as much as I don't know. I thought he was gonna be like when the movie started, I was like, oh, there's gonna be a lot of dog and maybe like too much dog, and the dog isn't like really there a lot of the time. What was that?
Yeah,
they're like
I think it's the
whining about him not
perfect
being
amount
there.
of dog.
No, I
think-
agree. I was expecting more. Not that I wanted more. I just was anticipating there to be like the dog to be there like the whole time and like fighting dinosaurs and stuff.
Dumbass dog that was like not trained even a little bit is also like a genius that survives and then also finds them and saves the day. I was like, no, I hate this. This should suck. While we're
Okay.
watching,
feel
while they're
like-
showing
I
shots
just-
of like cats
I-
getting eaten, bro. It's crazy.
But what are you arguing, right?
It's a political statement. I'm arguing that the movie is like is dog propaganda. That's what I'm arguing.
Okay, sure. That's
It's a
different. But
political
I don't think that
statement.
it's like, I don't know. I think to me the ideal.
The
I
shots
get what
of
you're
the cats
saying.
being eaten are intentional. There's no shots of dogs being eaten. No, I'm serious. No,
I believe
like,
you. I just like it's just a very funny point to argue, but it's hard to approach this matter with a lot of seriousness. But
I do. I
um,
love. There's like the shot of I don't remember exactly what. I don't know if it's when that they're like they. I guess it is maybe when the car gets rammed into the house and then they have to like escape and they're running and then the cat like peeks his head at the little whatever like the cat statue thingy.
sure.
It made me think of it, and I think like a lot of that is like some of the sort of these images that Mike Giolakis and Dave Rob Mitchell are creating, where they're using the foreground and the background in really successful ways. There's a lot of great shots where like you have
dinosaurs.
You're with the dinosaurs, or just even in general, where they're using the whole frame and they're sort of doing two things at once, or just getting two things across at once, that I think are really successful. That there's like funny bits where like it's like they're running and then in the background you see like another family just getting like, it's very like you brought up the cats being eaten and stuff, but like the other people in the neighborhood are just like they're getting fucked and destroyed, and there's a great like they're running and then this lady's like, what's going on, and then that makes me think of when you mentioned this is the end, like when that lady gets her head sort of eaten
Right.
as they're running by. There's a little bit of a nasty streak in the way that it like rides that PG-13 line, in the way that like just the random people of this neighborhood are getting attacked.
Well, and then there's the dinosaurs having sex.
Of course,
There are.
of course.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
I
which
think
is
is
also-
such a sweet scene. I just really love the well, it's kind of like very much like feeding your dog chocolate before it dies, but it's just very like to give them a little breather and a moment of like there of somewhat of like their a bright moment in their sort of back and forth relationship right before he gets destroyed.
Destroyed. Yeah. When he gets
No,
killed.
we could keep talking about the dog and the cat thing. I'm
Oh,
still on. I'm still on
What
that.
you
more
still on
about
that?
the-
What do you have to say?
No, I just like I don't know. I just like I don't know that it's like I don't know that it's intentional like dog propaganda as much as it is just like this is how you use dogs in movies.
No, it because there's no dogs being eaten by dinosaurs. and
There's
there
no
are
other
shots of-
dog.
Yeah, it's just the one dog. He's just like the
but there's
family
cats
dog.
being eaten by dinosaurs though.
Okay,
It's a statement.
And is it?
I guess.
I think
I
this
don't
is
know.
too.
But do you
You're
like
looking
so
into it
do you
too
have like okay, if there were no cats in the movie, do you have a problem with the dog's existence
That
on
would
its
be
own?
like just the tiniest amount. Yeah,
Because
also,
it sounded like
there's
you were really pissed about the dog saving the day, which I think is just like
well,
a
because
perfectly normal scene to put in the movie.
no, they set up the thing where it's like, oh, this dog is so. Here's my real thing. It's like this idealist family. It's idealist nuclear American family propaganda, where it's like you got a husband and a wife and a son and a daughter and a dog, and it's like the perfect fucking little box, and it's stronger than the whole universe, and they have like their dumbass dog that's not trained that you can't let outside on a leash because it's gonna bother everybody, and they know that and they acknowledge that in the movie. And he's like digging up and going in other people's yard, and he's like a bad dog, and they're like, it doesn't matter because he's our fucking best friend. And it's like, no, your dog sucks a little bit. Like it's cute and you're allowed to love him, but also train your fucking dog, you know? Anyways,
It's not like there's nothing wrong with not training your dog.
there is. What do you mean? There's something wrong with not training your dog? What are you saying?
That's such a crazy like
It's your
that's so
responsibility.
insane.
That's like they're saying there's nothing wrong with not raising your kid. There's nothing wrong with not teaching your kid manners. Like,
bro, if my you're like the guy, like you're like their neighbor. You're literally no better than their neighbor.
no,
If somebody's dog was digging into your yard, that's like a problem. Like that's a thing that dogs do.
if somebody's dog was digging into your yard, it is like it's not like I'm not saying it's the end of the world. Like the neighbor's
He was like, "I'm
kill
gonna
that
shoot
dog."
your dog."
I'm not saying like I'm gonna kill your dog, but it's like obviously it's a problem. What the hell are you talking about?
You're acting like it's like a moral failure that someone's dog is digging
is-
holes in the yard.
It's a minor moral failure on the family. That's not.
They
raising the
got bigger-
dog
they have
correctly.
bigger
I don't think
problems. They have
I
bigger
truly
problems.
like
I'm not
I
saying
don't
it's
think
a
anybody
major-
agrees with you. Like I
That's
don't know if
crazy.
there's a person alive that agrees with you.
You're crazy.
Hey, this is
No.
that's not crazy to say. It's not a
No,
crime to not
No,
train
no,
your
no.
dog.
I'm not saying it's a crime. I'm not saying it's like it's wrong to not train your dog. But you're saying it's like no, it's like it's fine. Everybody should just get their dogs and let them do whatever they want and not train them, and they'll be a
That's not what
social
I'm
nuisance.
saying.
And
Like,
when you
obviously,
go on walks,
like,
they'll
obviously
bark at
you
everybody,
fucking-
and it'll be
Obviously
fine,
you want
and
to train your
everybody's gonna
dog
be
to go to the
happy.
bathroom or whatever. It's not like in what way can you argue that there's something morally wrong with a dog digging holes in the yard?
Okay, one.
That's
this
how you're
is, like,
described. That's what the dog does. You're saying the dog's not trained. The dog's trained to do everything else. That's the only thing it doesn't do in the movie.
You're-
That's
so
the
you're
only thing it does
saying-
wrong is it digs holes in their neighbor's yard. Who
No,
cares?
It's also a nuisance. It's also like,
To
like, at
who?
in the beginning of the fucking movie, Anne Hathaway's like, this dog is a nuisance, and
Yeah, she also hates her kids, like you said. So like,
She's
like
not
that's
happy.
clearly her problem. That has nothing to do with the dog. The
No,
dog's a nuisance because she's a
because the
miserable
dog goes
person.
around and bothers everybody on the block party, and they're like, oh yeah, because it gets too excited and he barks at everybody. It's like, yeah, Like
Yeah, dogs do that. They're animals.
But like, it's not like there's no like the dog isn't like biting little kids or anything.
Yeah, you can't.
It's like
There are
no,
people.
obviously that's the
There are
most
dogs
extreme-
who
that's
there
the
are
most
dogs who
extreme.
bark at other people. Like that just there are dogs who are just aggressive. Like that.
It's just like
happens.
he's
That's
like
not
a
moral
happy
failure
dog.
that
He's
your
just like
dog
a
barks.
happy dog.
Yeah, like it's.
And the dog is pretty well behaved in the block party. He's like not like doing anything.
He's
crazy,
being
like...
so normal. He's literally on a leash and just hanging out. He doesn't fucking do. She's like, oh, this dog isn't supposed to be out, and then he brings him out, and it does nothing.
Yeah, I think
nothing.
it honestly is more so like I said no and your dad said yes sort of thing than the dog being the issue. I think she's more mad that like he said yes when she said no.
Yeah, she's mad at the dad. Like the dog is totally fine.
I don't know. It's what's funny is when I was a kid, it would be like I would get beaten up because I even asked my like the dad character after the mom said no. You know what I mean? But
what do you mean with your
like it would
dog?
be my fault. Like the dad would be excused, and it would be the child's fault because they even asked twice. But
Are you saying for like something in like specific or just like in general? Like if you asked your
like in this situation, we're talking about something specific already.
To bring that dog to the block party?
Yeah. Anyways, okay.
It would be your fault.
I don't know.
Never mind. Let's keep moving.
No, I just think it's like a crazy point to argue.
I don't think it is.
I think everybody in the comments is going to agree with me.
No,
I think
you need to weigh in on the comments. We don't always get a lot of comments. You need to weigh in on the comments.
If there are people in the comments who genuinely think it's a moral failure
No. See, you're trying to twist it a little bit because what Kevin is saying is that it is completely 100% acceptable for your dog to break out of your yard and go into other people's yards and dig holes and do whatever. Kevin's like, it's completely acceptable.
I'm saying like you should apologize to your neighbors, but you don't need to. Your dog doesn't need to like be perfectly trained to do everything right. That's not like it's not a moral failure if your dog makes mistakes. It's a dog.
No, you apologize to your neighbors, but what if it just like keeps happening forever? You're like, oh, it's just a dog, like whatever. No, it's
well,
like, no, it's your fault.
Then you
It's
don't
your
let it
fault
in the
for not
yard.
taking
Like
care
you
of your
do
dog,
something.
bro.
It's not a moral failure for.
No, you agree with me. This is crazy. This is crazy.
No, it's not, because you're saying it's a problem of like the training the dog. I'm saying
yes,
if
it
it
is,
keeps
because letting them into the yard is you not training the dog correctly. Is you're not
yeah,
training
but then
the
I
dog
would just
not
do
to
something to
that.
stop it.
But that's what I'm saying. That yes.
No, but
that's
you're
what I'm
talking
saying.
about the dog. You're talking about like whether or not you as a person have trained the dog. I'm saying if the dog keeps digging holes, fucking dig a deeper fence or something. I don't put up like don't let it back there. But
the neighbor Loki has like shitty defense.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not fighting back.
No. It's not the neighbor's fault for that the dog is getting in his yard, bro.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not what I'm arguing. But you were saying like it's a problem. You were arguing that it's a problem to not like for a dog to make mistakes, like to not be trained to not do these things.
I'm arguing that it's the owner's responsibility to make sure the dog doesn't do stuff like that.
Sure, that's different than training it, though.
It's not really. What are you saying? What you're like dig a bigger fence. I'm saying train the dog not to go in there. It's like what?
Okay, never mind.
This is crazy. Wait, no, this is crazy.
It's not that crazy. Literally all I was arguing was that's not the way you presented it.
Yes, it is.
When you started
yes, it is.
No, it's not. You literally said at the beginning of this conversation, you were like, it's a moral failure to not train your dog. That's what you said. That's not a true statement. It's not a moral failure to not train your dog.
Everything I've said, I didn't move the goalpost at all. I've landed there again. Like
no, but that is so different than the specific scenario that you're describing.
Because you wanted to get into it, and I'm like, all of the weeds. You got
but
into
now
the
you're
weeds,
talking
and then
about the movie. That's something different than what you presented at the beginning of the conversation. You literally said to me, "You said it's a moral failure to not train your dogs." I said, "No, it's not.
It is a moral failure not to train your dog, bro.
No, it's not. That's crazy.
No, it's your fucking responsibility as an owner of a live thing to make sure that it behaves and is happy and is able to like.
It is happy.
That's so different. That's so different.
It's not happy if it gets fucking shot by the neighbor because you didn't train it not to go into the neighbor's yard, bro. That's what do you mean?
That's so different. It's fine. I clearly interpreted this so differently. It's fine. We could talk about the movie because that's insane.
This is crazy. This is crazy. I was so consistent. I was saying the same thing over
That
and
is
over
not.
again,
That
and
is
you were like,
to
"You're
me.
saying so
This is
many
the most
different things."
inconsistent thing imaginable.
That's crazy.
Because there's so clearly a difference between what you're describing, which is taking care of a living thing, and training it.
No, I'm talking about training it, and that's just a part of taking care of it.
Sure.
It's similar to a kid where you wouldn't like you have to train your kid not to do stuff when they're little. Like, yeah, you have to do the same thing with a dog. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Bro's angry because he loves his dogs.
No, I don't. First of all, my dogs don't dig holes in the yard. So that's not a fucking problem I have. I'm just saying that my dogs do things wrong because they're fucking stupid. And that's not my fault. I'm not morally a worse person because my dogs are idiots.
The movie isn't like a 5-year long period of time. Like, it's such a short amount of time where like I think you're not giving the people like enough time to like actually like actively like address the situation. Like they're like, oh, like this thing keeps happening, and then we get sucked into like a wormhole. So like it's like bigger issues happen, and like but then like, you know, he's getting upset about the manure, the dinosaur shit, and like that's not their fault. It like it really is like there's such a minor. It's such a it's such a minor
like,
issue.
When the neighbor was like, "Your son did this," and it's like, how the fuck would he have done this? Like, how could he possibly have done it?
It's such a crazy and like unusual thing to sort of do. Yeah, I don't know. That stuff's silly. I think like that makes it feel very like I like the small like town bullshit problem is like that being the sort of a point of conflict for these characters is the neighbor and his bullshit. And I think it does. I mean, it's very, there's those scenes are sort of very economical in terms of like the dialogue and the character building that we get, because I mean, the movie moves super fast, but also we get to the dinosaur stuff pretty quickly. Like it's not like, you know, we need this whole 30 minutes of this is the people and this is the town and this is all that. I mean, it gets through that pretty quickly, and we get all the sort of information we need. And even like, I think I thought about this on the second viewing. There's I think it's a really great scene of like character building and the world building of the script, where the dad comes home and the kid also is coming home, or I don't know where the kid's coming from, but you know, he tells the dad take the pizza sign or thingy off the top of his car, and they're just talking back and forth about, you know, why mom doesn't like it and all this stuff, and the kids got cigarettes or something. But they're just like, it's a very like sort of like every line is very like building. It you know, every line has sort of a great purpose and all that stuff. And I think yeah, it moves pretty quick in terms of like, I think it is funny. I mean, I saw some people like sort of again, I think this is very like not really a mini movie at, or maybe whatever Logic Braid Cinema sending it, but like the Anne Hathaway goes over to the older woman's house, and she's like, I got this like plant back, and she takes the photo of it and she takes it to the librarian. And the librarian knows exactly what the plant is.
There's no way.
And I was thinking, I was thinking on the second watch from like, she could have just not known what it was and be like, oh, I've never seen this before. And that could have done fine. And it's very like, there's some bits of dialogue in the movie that feel too handheldy in that way, where it's like, we did not need to know exactly the name of that. There's even a second watch, I was thinking too, like there's a line where they go back in the bubble, and Anne Hathaway says, they look at the day, the mail and the thing, and they say like, oh, it's July 11th, and Anne Hathaway says, this is the day it happened. You know, or some of that stuff. There's lines like that where it's very like spoon feeding a little bit to the audience. of like what you need to sort of be gaining from the. But again, it's like it's a big summer blockbuster, and I sort of I'm not like too critical on those things. They stand out to me a little bit on double second viewing, just in terms of like, oh, that's silly, that's I can see the script when those things happen.
They killed the other versions of themselves in cold blood without even considering it. I keep thinking about that. The movie doesn't even
right. So the ending of the movie,
at the end of the movie, yeah, they
which
just
is
fucking
it's
an interesting thing where, but then there's two Jeanettes at the end there. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I did not see that.
So I didn't notice it on the first viewing, and then people talking about it on Twitter. So second viewing, I made sure to notice where it's the shot of them at that cookout there, and it's Jeanette is with the I don't know the girl's name, but the two girls are there, and then Jeanette's parents, and then Jeanette 2 or Jeanette 1, I guess Jeanette 2 comes in, and so there's two of them, and then it sort of poses the question of like, are there, because Ewan McGregor is dead, and there's only one Ewan McGregor now, but then they leave the other Anne Hathaway and children to die.
Yeah, I think that they do. Yeah.
But because Jeanette runs off on her own, she like walks into her house, and then she sees another one of her, and there's like, we gotta go. And then there's two Jeanettes. But it is like, I don't know exactly. I mean, it's obviously it's like, it's not that important, but like she calls the pizza to get the pizza, and then she also, I guess, calls
a bunch of other people.
A bunch of other people.
People. It's also like all people who died. So then you're just like, so there shouldn't be any copies.
Right. But Jeanette is a copy,
except for her. Yeah. But like all the other people they call are just like characters who died in the movie. So I guess that's like,
it's just there's just two Jeanettes, unless, well, no, because the there's no, it wouldn't be two Anne Hathaways or anything. They just let those people die. But also, if they,
it's funny though, because does that mean that she's only saving like the people in the neighborhood that she knows and likes? Because there's no way she's called every house in the neighborhood to leave. Like,
no, because
then
called in a bomb threat and had like a major evacuation or something. But maybe that
I don't know if
time.
Yeah,
I don't know how that worked in the 80s. I don't know, like.
Yeah, it is. No,
I mean, I guess the 80s would have been a time with a lot of bomb threats.
It is very funny because it's like, well, these people died because we didn't know them.
And then she also writes a book about it. So then it's like, I wonder if she admits that in the book, where she's like, yeah, I just, because then like the people, now it's like public knowledge.
Right. Well, because they're on the TV. Well, they were thanking her, and they were like, thanks to Anne Hathaway.
Right. But it's like, but then would it not? I wonder if then she saved the whole neighborhood, because otherwise that's like a tricky thing to depict. That's a tricky thing to depict on the news and be like, oh, look at these people she saved, and then she let all the other people die. But
true. Yes,
maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe it's better.
I think it's just it's like a silly like sci-fi movie ending. Like
yeah,
it's like cute.
You know, it's it's not that I don't know. I think people have been posing it maybe as like a deeper, but also like there's more to it than maybe. But I just feel like it kind of is just like this is just cute little ending, and them being two Jeanettes is funny, but it's overly. I think the movie is just like kind of not taking those things very seriously, and not like worried about the ramifications of the event too much.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it a little deeper, I'm like, I don't really know if it would have been possible anyway, because it's like she probably called the people that she knows because she knows their number,
right? It's like
people's numbers,
right?
And also, if she doesn't know people, they're not going to believe her when she's like, run away from your house, like you just call a stranger's house,
11 p.m. Leave, run.
Yeah. So I guess
think because even like the librarian lady was like, yeah, my husband didn't believe me, but I trusted her, and thank God we did. But yeah, I think she would have a hard time calling some random person and being like, so here's what you got to do. I do think it's silly. It feels very like 80s, but because we're on the other side of the wormhole thing, we have the resources of the outside world, so the sort of the government can send in the troops to just blast the aliens or the dinosaurs.
They were
They
shooting
just-
those T-Rexes.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
It's very
Kevin, I have a
interesting.
nerdy question that doesn't have to do with the movie, really.
Oh,
But
okay.
it is something I thought about watching the movie because at the end of the movie, they zap in the wormhole zaps in just the area size of the neighborhood that got zapped out of whatever Jurassic or whatever land,
Right.
you know. How densely populated was the Earth with dinosaurs? You know what I
Um,
mean? Because there were some
Right.
dinosaurs that zapped in with them, but like, you know, like
right, but it can't be like that many. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, well, so like you have to also think about that dinosaurs like were on an Earth that's like shaped differently than ours. Like obviously it was like a giant
like the
land
continents were
land
different. Yeah.
mass that it was just like you know that's different than the way ours looks. Um, but they were pretty spread out. I know at least like when I was doing a lot of reading about dinosaurs in school, they were like specific to certain regions. And so that's kind of the other thing where it's like, if you want to really get into the logic of it, it's not even just that like some of these dinosaurs aren't from the same time period. It's that like some of these dinosaurs might have just like, there's no way they would have been in the same circle of space together because they might just be living in a totally different climate from each other. Um,
Right.
Again, none of that's really important. I don't think that if you just zapped a neighborhood sized circle of some random part of land that there would be that
Yeah,
many
I guess.
dinosaurs that came through, but that's like, you know, I again, that's I guess that's
It's
not that
nitpicking, but
important.
I did think about that while watching the movie.
Yeah,
That
I
that
don't think that it would be, you know, there were a lot of dinosaurs, but I don't think that, you know,
Yeah.
it was they were and they did there were a lot of dinosaurs that were like in packs or flocks or whatever, but like I don't know that it would have been like that densely populated that you get such a diverse array
Right.
of dinosaurs in one circle.
Yeah, but then the movie
That
is
seems
not a
pretty
movie.
impossible. Yeah, but
You get, like,
of course it makes
two
more
like that.
sense. It does make more sense for most of the movie though, because when it's just their neighborhood circle in a wider environment, it would make more sense that there are different dinosaurs like moving through that area. And it's I do actually kind of like in the movie how it like builds, you know, like in terms of like the movement patterns of the dinosaurs, where it's like, oh, first, you know, they just like spot one dinosaur moving through their neighborhood, and then
Yeah.
like, you know, somebody might have gotten eaten on the other side of the neighborhood, but like you haven't seen it yet. And then later, of course, it becomes like herds of dinosaurs are coming through or whatever, and like and there's a lot more. But it's like for the whole first half hour ish of the movie, I feel like it's just like you spot one dinosaur here and then like later another one comes
Right.
through, and then as it
There's
goes
this
on there's like more of a growing threat.
Yeah, there's this really great shot where it's like sort of zooming into the reflection and you sort of see the little guy move by.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I,
that was
I
good.
really love the way Mike Giolakis is photographing the way that is a little different, but like there's this really great sequence where the daughter is on the roof reading her book and she's just like watching, and there's this almost like Hitchcock rear window element to some of the film where like we're just observing things going around in the town, and we're like, what is it's very like there's not even like dialogue, it's kind of just like we're just watching and we're like, okay, that's weird, and then this is happening,
Yeah.
and then the cat runs by and we're sort of like, okay, we're sort of, I mean, we kind of obviously with the marketing and knowing what movie we're in, we're knowing what's going on, but the characters are slowly sort of being like, okay, this is weird. And then, oh, this is like, there's a dinosaur right there, and now it's all really scary, and now we're gonna die. And it really, I mean,
Yeah.
it ramps up pretty quickly, but I think there's a really beautiful way that they slowly kind of are noticing and observing the changes or the oddities in the neighborhood that are happening.
Yeah. And I do really like how they like from like the dinosaur perspective, I like how there's like situations where they're less effective, but like they're more effective. Like it's like you were saying earlier with the house and stuff, where it's like when I like the setups and payoffs of like showing a dinosaur and then it like comes back later and they have like the Titanoboa like in the
Right.
pool and it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
it's not fast enough to get him there. But then of course if it's like
Right,
if it
right,
finds its
right.
way into your house, it's like a whole different scenario. Same with like at the ending, like those dinosaurs that attack them at the end. You know, like if that was on the street, you'd probably just run away from them. But because they're
Yeah,
now like in your house, it's like I thought that stuff was really cool. Like that's a cool, like you were saying about the
right,
comparison between
right.
Jurassic Park. It's like in Jurassic Park, you're just in nature, you know, like you're in their
Yes.
environment, but them being in your environment changes how like everything
Yeah.
functions. And I
I
think that's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, and they're really creative sort of set pieces that they're sort of pulling off here in terms of the uh we get a really strong understanding of the space and sort of the situation that is a result of the space. And there's a really beautiful like Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway are looking through out the window and they're watching their neighbor up there shooting the guys in the sky. But then he's shooting towards them and just the sort of we understand the space so well. And I think a lot of that has to do with them shooting in real spaces and
Yeah.
sort of not being like a total because I think too like when you're doing like these Jurassic World movies or whatever and you're doing more the space is more the spectacle, right? Or like it's like,
Right.
oh look at this is we're in this crazy jungle
Well,
or
it's
whatever.
the shot of seeing the really big long neck dinosaurs in the field, right? That's like what the Jurassic Park movies are about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I was more so like I think in the more recent one when they're in this like very big and beautiful place. There's just less the space it's too vast and or like here I think they do a really good job of like sort of claustrophobic. Of course the town there's like walls and stuff. It feels very like I think there's almost this like game like quality to almost like we're in the Hunger Games or something where it's like weird. There are barriers. And I mentioned Fortnite, but there's just like these barriers that were and these confined. There's like rules to it, even if it's like totally illogical and we like kind of don't know what happened. It kind of presents these very like okay, this is you can't leave and you're in this spot and there's dinosaurs and they're gonna kill you and you got to figure it out how to escape. And then you have to jump through these like you have to time it right. You have to time the jumps, and then the kid mistimes the jump. But there's a game like sort of thing to that. Where
But
like
he also
counting.
doesn't mistime it. No, he just like it just has its own. It just does
right.
something different than it's been doing the rest of the time.
There's a sort of miscellaneous sort of. It's not always the same.
Yeah.
Which is it's funny.
Yeah, it's just like
It's like they almost try to figure it out. They almost try to crack it, and it's like, oh, that's not how this works. It actually works differently than you thought it did.
You have to believe, it's like
right. You have to.
It's all mental. Because they were right. Like they got the pattern right. It did 8 seconds like 12 times in a row, and then it's just like the one time he does it doesn't work. So
yeah,
it's like
very cool.
They were correct. But
and it's also I mean, like when they first find it, it's like in a very easy, like you just walk through it, and of course the one where they're trying to actually leave.
Now it's like hanging in the sky.
yeah. Which I really love when they're on the roof and there's just these beautiful clouds and there's the guys flying around. It's quite great. I think it looks incredible. And it's I think in terms of like a big summer like fun blockbuster with a lot of money sort of attached. I think it sort of does exactly what you want out of that in terms of and especially in ways that like a lot of those kind of movies sort of really struggle to in sort of these in the recent era of just being like let's make a really tight, fast, fun, beautiful blockbuster.
And I think also like I don't know. Doug mentioned that like scene in Jurassic Park with the Brachiosaurus, which is like that's my favorite scene in Jurassic Park. But I think you're correct, and citing that scene as like that's kind of what Jurassic Park is about.
Right.
The movie is like, I don't know. I wonder how like people who also really like dinosaurs or like this type of thing will react to it. I think like we were saying, like the set pieces and like the dinosaur action specifically just is the best part of the movie to me. Like I really like that stuff. I
Mhm.
guess I could see the opposite happening because Jurassic Park, like if you're going in being like, oh, this is just like the best dinosaur movie since Jurassic Park, it is different in the sense that like Jurassic Park combines the like beauty and like appreciation of like being able to see something that like humans never had their eyes on before, like this like
Sure.
incredible thing that are like these like beautiful animals that are also really dangerous. Like it combines the two, whereas like
Right.
this movie is just about them being dangerous, you know? Like this movie
Well,
isn't really interested. There's no like
yeah.
dinosaur expert in the movie who's like enamored by the
Right,
dinosaur. Like
which
that's not what this
I
is.
don't know who brought it up. I saw someone bring that up as sort of a distinct difference of the you don't have a character be like, well, this is a blah blah blah, and sort of explaining it and sort of getting into the like because it kind of is what Zach Kreger was talking about with Resident Evil about the sort of the character being in this position and it sort of being again to bring up video games, but like if you were thrown into this situation, what would you do? And it's like I wouldn't know. I'm like, oh, that's a dinosaur. That's this dinosaur. And that's this dinosaur. It's like if these people who didn't know about that much about dinosaurs were thrown into the situation, rather than like someone who's like studied it, and you have these like scientists, it's not very
Yeah.
interested in that thing. I do think overall like it's obviously because there's really not a lot of other dinosaur things that are well talked about. It's obviously going to get those Jurassic
Yeah,
Worlds,
that it's like kind of
but I
impossible
think
to
it's a
avoid.
I think it's a very different movie, and
It's
it's trying to
totally
Of
achieve.
different.
course.
It's
It's
Yeah.
totally
trying
It's like
to
not even
achieve.
close to that. Yeah.
It's just like there's dinosaurs. I think because it's an '80s thing, it's definitely like the Spielberg stuff, and which is like it makes sense why they're brought up. But again, I do think they're like completely different things. They're just also happen to be dinosaurs
Yeah.
here.
like what was the last Jurassic World movie called with Scarlett Johansson and
Oh god. And
Rebirth.
Mahershala Ali.
Rebirth? Yeah.
Rebirth, yeah.
Like that movie was like not it wasn't great, but that movie's pretty good. But like that even if you want to try to compare it to that, it's like that movie has
Right,
so many fucking
completely different
locations and
movies.
so much shit going on.
Yeah.
Like
And the
But
goals
also
of
like
the characters are just completely different.
mhm.
Like where it's like these guys. Well, I guess I mean there is also like there's obviously there's going to be like the survival aspect of it, but that's just kind of purely they're trying to like survive in this movie where they're like on like sort of there's reasons why they're going towards dinosaurs rather than like the dinosaurs just happen to show up and we have to figure that out now.
Right.
yeah. Yeah, this is like way more apocalyptic.
Right.
Is there anything else we'd like to discuss about
Do we
the
talk
end of
about
Oak
dogs
Street?
more?
That's okay. We could if we want.
I
No, I
think
don't want to.
I want to lightly talk about like David Robert Mitchell and sort of as a
Sure, sure,
filmmaker
yeah.
and sort of so going from It Follows to Under the Silver Lake and then Under the Silver Lake was 20,
2018.
2018 was It Follows was 2014 and then this
They
movie like
follow.
this movie being like kind of a it's interesting. I mean, we lightly talked about the box office, but it is one of those things where like he feels like a director that like to me is like very talented, but the industry constantly feels like it's like we might never. It's like he feels almost like Richard Kelly in a way, where like I feel like they could discard him very quickly, and that due to like just like the general response of the films. And this movie, like sort of it doing well, weighing a lot on sort of the future of what they'll allow him to do. But They Follow is coming soon. I do want to. I was thinking about it. But I couldn't get to do it before this episode. But I would like to rewatch It Follows.
Yeah. I like that
uh,
movie.
Cult classic.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
instant
I
classic
wasn't
horror
too
movie.
high on it when I first saw it, but I do really love both Under the Silver Lake and The End of Oak Street. But with They Follows coming soon, I definitely would at least want to rewatch it before then. But I think he's a very interesting filmmaker in the way that he is navigating very different types of movies. with this being like the biggest sort of blockbuster-y version, but by doing this horror movie, then Under the Silver Lake having a very specific sort of tone to it, and then doing like a really big sort of fun for the whole family kind of movie. I think the versatility would, in my eyes, make him someone that Hollywood or studios in general would be interested in working with, as like he seemingly can just do any kind of movie. But it always comes down to like the sort of financial aspect of it. Is like someone we could rely on. But to me, I just feel like I think a lot of it has to do with just me enjoying his films, but it seems like some guy that, like, if I was head of a studio, I'd be like, we want that guy doing something that we're on our thing, because he seems to be kind of a plug and play guy that you can put on all sorts of projects, and be able to sort of deliver on that thing. But it does seem like this was my understanding is like this is a script that he brought to J.J. Abrams, and this is like, it's not like a Jurassic World situation where like they assigned him this, like, you're gonna make a dinosaur movie. It was like it was an interest of his that he brought, and then J.J. Abrams was like, this is a movie I would like to see, which is a good thing too, I guess, in terms of like it's a sort of speaks well of his sort of pitching abilities in that way. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hopefully it will. We brought up a little bit, but like I hope it has some legs, because it does feel like people are, I think, overall enjoying it.
Yeah, certainly.
As well as like it being a sort of a movie star movie, like kind of like a bit an Anne Hathaway vehicle, is, I think, showing you're able to successfully, take a movie star and sort of produce something of worth of value, because there's a lot of movie star vehicles that are not worth watching, and those guys sign on to those things constantly. So to have success in that realm is really big, and especially, I mean, even making that jump. I don't know what Under the Silver Lake's budget was, but I can't imagine it was too massive. But that is in many ways an Andrew Garfield vehicle. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. He's a bit older, but just in terms of, he only has so many films. I'm excited for what he does next. So I do think he's very talented.
Yeah, I do wonder how They Follow will do, because of what you said, which is that it's like cult classic horror now. Obviously, it only made like, I don't, whatever it was, like 20 million, but like They Follow, I imagine will be, or It Follows, I mean, made 20 million, but They Follow, I feel like is going to be a big deal, I guess.
Yeah, I do think
people really like that movie.
I also think too, I don't know if it's coming next year or the year after, because I do think we're just in a horror moment right now too.
I don't think they've have they confirmed like a date? I still don't know if they have.
Yeah, I think especially because like It Follows was his, not his first feature, but like his first notable in terms of like people talking about it and people seeing it.
Yeah.
So coming off of his biggest budget movie, doing a sequel of his like cult classic movie, and horror movies just being sort of having that moment right now, I just feel like it would do gangbusters.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can wrap up there and talk about some news. Reminding everybody, of course, to share some feedback. If you like listening to us talk about The End of Oak Street, you can like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. You could rate the episode on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And you can follow us at the links in the episode description. Not a ton of news to talk about this week. I guess the biggest thing, of course, is that we have a sizable chunk of official X-Men castings, including Sadie Sink as Jean Grey, which we already knew, Kit Connor as Cyclops, Maya Boyd as Storm, Samara Weaving as Emma Frost, Christopher Abbott as Professor X, Indy Navarrete as Rogue, and Adam Driver as Mr. Sinister.
Well,
where do we start?
Okay, sure. You know more than I do. I'm just reading the names.
Well, no,
but it's like it could be Mr. Sinister, right?
I think. What do you mean?
No. It's Okay, if you want to get into, we could just write the movie
Yeah,
off and be like
come on,
whatever. But if you
come
want
on.
to talk a little bit about it, right? It
Yeah.
was Adam Driver. Did you watch the video where they
No, I
from
didn't watch
D23?
it.
So Adam Driver's not there. So if you saw like in the photos, Adam Driver is not present with the rest of the actors.
Yeah.
Adam Driver like they recorded a video of Adam Driver on a soundstage being like, "I'm here, ready to shoot, waiting for you guys to shoot." Um, and he announced that's literally what he says. But and then he announces that he says Magneto, and then he
Hmm.
looks off camera and he's like, "Wait." And then he says, whatever, something Nathaniel Milbury, right?
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
is the Mr. Sinister character. It's interesting. It's interesting that he didn't say Mr. Sinister. Also,
Sure.
I've whatever. I have thoughts about.
What are your thoughts? This is the time to say. This is to talk about the thoughts
It's well,
podcast.
it's going to be right. You're right. Talk about the thoughts podcast. Well, no, my thoughts about the new X-Men movie are.
Yeah.
I think the casting is largely fine.
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, fucking knocked any of these out of the
Yeah.
park necessarily, except for the adults in the room. Professor X and Mr. Sinister here.
Right.
Sure.
Also girls,
Yeah.
just forever girls. But
Yeah.
the 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 movie, the plot, I think it's probably going to be because like these are all actors that are going to play very young versions of the characters. It'll be like a young X-Men like
Yeah.
origin story kind of thing of
Yeah.
like Xavier going around talking to them. And I think Mr. Sinister is probably not going to be in the movie as Mr. Sinister in the first movie. It's probably going to be
Oh,
like a
sure.
reinvention of him again. It's going to be about like there's going to be the shadow of like a Milbury character kind of sitting there. I just got a text message from Amazon sitting there where and the thing is probably going to be he's going to be certainly like stalking and probably obsessive about this young Scott Summers Cyclops character, but
Mhm.
they might even stretch it for it's like he's going to have like a thing for all of the characters like looking at them from a distance and it's going to build up into like a
Huh.
thing.
Interesting. I wouldn't really know anything about like speculating about that, but I saw people theorizing that Adam Driver would just be doing this as like a one and done movie and then just like going back to like take a paycheck and then just go back to making real movies. But
Here's
I
my
don't
thing.
know.
I think you can call me crazy. I think Adam Driver needs this a little bit.
Well,
Sure.
I
Like-
think to me it's such an obvious like recharge where it's like
Yeah.
we've done so many movies basically off the backs of those Star Wars movies
Mhm.
where like that has basically funded the last 10 years of the or not even I guess 7 8 of the Adam Driver filmography, and now we go back and we get some more money, and then we go back and do more. So if it's one movie, two movie, I think it's better than him. Like I think with Magneto, it feels like he would be more tied down than this role. Where this thing, like even if it's like two movies, three movies,
Okay, I was gonna say, I think it's
Ma-
probably gonna be closer to 3 or more.
but like
movies.
he's not gonna be in like the next Avengers thing.
No,
or
probably
something.
not. Certainly not. He's not gonna be in like 10. He's not Iron Man, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Which like
But-
I think Magneto, like old boy is still playing him. Like
No,
so
that's
it's like
depressing.
you
We
know
talked
you
about that
don't
last
you
week or
don't
2
want to
weeks ago.
be
Depressing.
you don't want to
Yeah.
be locked down as that character. I think that character's too important. Where like
Right.
Mr. Sinister could be in two
Mr.
movies or
Sinister,
something.
not even that important of a character in like the larger X-Men canon, but I think that
Yeah.
he's gonna be reinvented as like this big X-Men villain, because he hasn't been in any movies before.
Sure.
But again, I think that like we said, we're more invested in Adam Driver, right, than anybody else
Yeah.
involved or
In the
anything
world,
else
yeah.
involved. So I think that it is like worth it's like Adam Driver kind of needs this, and I think when I mean that is like he needs it more than just one movie, and it's not about the money. I think it is about like that he needs to build up his fame and like these
Right.
movies
Sure.
to be really well, and him to be
Yeah.
like associated with their success. Like I think that he does kind of need that in the same way that I think Marvel. They need the X-Men to also kind of be a hard reset on the
Yeah.
whole thing, to be like to completely like drop the Avengers and be like now it's like the X-Men, that is the whole, it's X-Men and Spider-Man and that's it now basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that's true, and I think like it's just a more interesting property for everyone involved. Like you think you see it with in terms of the actors that they're sort of circling and stuff, and it's just being there's just been a weird period where like it's like what are they kind of doing over there, and it's just they've been sort of building towards this a little bit ever since they bought the property back, of like how they're going to sort of bring it back. um I think Christopher Abbott's really interesting.
It's
Yeah,
so
I
good.
love
It's
him.
so good.
As like to me, the way that I sort of feel about any superhero casting is mostly like I the obvious picks are never the interesting ones or the exciting ones. Where if I can so clearly see it, like
Mhm.
it's like, oh well, there's not really a vision or a take here. It's just like we can because like most fan stuff, and I feel like this way with the James Gunn stuff is James Gunn very much feels aligned with like we just cast a guy who looks pretty much exactly like the comic book, and it doesn't really matter if he's the best actor in the world or anything. If he just sort of looks like the guy in the page, that's good enough for me. Where I'd rather you cast someone like I was super big and excited about the Cooper Hoffman rumors because
That would have been really interesting.
to me, I'm like, that's a take, and that's like I wouldn't have expected that. But the fact that you went out and did it makes me more interested in what you're going to be doing. Because I was like, I would have never expected them to do that. And the fact that it was even a rumor was fascinating. But I think
Mhm.
even with I think Christopher Rabbit fits that as well, where I just like that's just not someone who I would have expected them to go after for this role. And because he's doing it, and because I think he's a great actor, interests me slightly on that element.
There's so much baggage with the X-Men and casting and
Right.
like with casting that I think it makes it interesting. It's going to be so interesting what the fuck they do with Magneto. I think that people are maybe moving on too much. I sound like a fucking like a nerd podcaster right now. I sound like we're on the Escape Pod. Um but I like the X-Men. And I really like these movies a lot. When I was a kid as they were coming out. I haven't seen them
Mhm.
in a million years, but uh there's so much baggage. And I think people are moving on too much about Adam Driver joking about being Magneto at the D23
Mhm.
event. Because that's the first thing that came out of his mouth was like, I'm sorry I couldn't be here, but I'm on set waiting for you guys. I'm here to announce that I'm playing Magneto. That's what he says, you know.
I
Um
know, but
it's crazy that he's I don't know. But um
but
uh
why would they
I don't know. I don't know.
hide
Why would they
that?
joke
Why
about
would
that even? I don't know. Like I'm just saying like I have no idea. Um
it just
I
feels like a weird thing to do you think like if he's not Magneto like they just wouldn't he just wouldn't be in the movie? Like how many X-Men movies can you do without Magneto?
Truly, not that many. I don't think
Yeah.
because Magneto's like the most. He's the most significant character in X Men. I mean, other than
Right.
like it's like Charles Xavier, Jean Grey, Cyclops. Those are like the big three.
Right.
Then
And
outside of
all
that, you have like
yeah.
Wolverine and Magneto. You know, like that. Those are the guys.
To me it slightly feels a little bit what we were talking about in the Spider-Man episode where it's like, well, they've done this thing in the past, and this is how they did it, and we're gonna try to like do it a bit different. But it's like if you're gonna do the X-Men, so much of those movies are like the Professor X Magneto sort of dynamic, and like that's why you show up for the X-Men movies in many ways. And it'll be interesting to have if they end up doing Professor X um without like I don't know. It's just I mean, it's a
it's
it's
yeah.
an idea.
But there's so much baggage with the Professor X and Magneto casting where it's like
Yeah.
they did it twice now with the older versions of their characters and then the younger versions of the
And
characters
it
and
like
both
they
of
knocked
them
it out of the fucking park.
yeah both of them are so iconic both
Yeah.
times that it's if they
Yeah.
can't get it wrong, you know, it's like where if you get it wrong, it's a disaster. So that's why I think it's I don't know. And they haven't announced who's playing Magneto. Maybe you just won't be in the movie, which would be fine because it's a young X Men thing. But
Sure.
um,
But
no,
eventually like they
certainly
will
eventually
do a Magneto. It's
you
just
have to
like
do Magneto. He's too important. Um,
yeah.
but what I think is also interesting is you're saying like oh that's what you go for the X-Men movies for. It's tough because the Fantastic Four have never really been like successful
Yeah.
in movies, but the people will say like the richest relationship in comic in like American comic books is Reed Richards and Doctor Doom, right? Is their
Right.
rivalry. Like that's why people are into Fantastic
Yes,
Four
which
comic book.
hasn't really been successful in the
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah.
And and the new one I feel like is a
They're
sort of
skipping it.
jarbled. Well, it's like I don't know, you guys watched the trailer, but you have these scenes with Pedro Pascal and Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, and it's like there's almost seemingly like a history between them.
There
But it's
has
like
to be because there's no other reason for Doom to exist, right?
right, but
they
it's
haven't set
like
that up.
those trailers are so weird where like it's like, well, I don't know anything that's happening in any of these scenes, and we're just like smashing our toys together, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Like whatever.
Which I don't know. I didn't see the Thunderbolts, so I don't have too much.
Kevin, was Doom in the Thunderbolts?
No. But the direct. Oh well, I think he's in the post credit scene. But I was more talking about the director, being the X-Men guy.
Oh right, I forgot that's
And
X-Men guy.
I don't. To me, I'm like, but like
Speak to this, Kevin.
Bryan Singer directed like 9 X-Men movies. So
Also,
I don't know.
yeah, Doom is in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene. I literally don't remember that. Like, you're asking the worst person because I forgot
Not
about
the
all that
worst
shit,
person because
but-
you saw the movie and we didn't.
Yeah,
Sure.
well-
No, I know. I'm just saying, like broadly speaking, I don't fucking remember anything from those movies like a week after I watched them. Thunderbolts is like fine. I don't really know that I'm like
The thing
that I
about
have
the
a ton
Bryan
of confidence
Singer-
as him as like the X-Men director after
Right.
Thunderbolts.
Right.
I mean, it's like
It just feels like
it's
such an
hard to
important property
tell.
to not go
You
get someone
can't fuck
crazy.
it up.
But like,
That's the
who
thing
do you get? I don't know.
It's really hard to. The problem is it's hard to tell when you're
you get? Like,
when it's when it's a director who exists. Like like we know this guy. What's his name? Jake Shire or Schreier or something like that, right?
Yeah.
We know him as the Thunderbolts director,
Right.
So it's like different than if you were to tell me like
Paper
this
Towns.
person who I love is making the new X-Men movie. I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. But like, when you tell me it's the Thunderbolts guy, I'm like, okay, well, like, what does that mean?
Right. Well, we did this. We
Like,
did this
I don't
conversation on the Spider-Man episode with Sophie, where we were kind of posing the question of like, who are the best directors who have made an MCU movie? And basically, anyone we brought up was on the good faith of what they've done outside of the Marvel.
Right.
Where it's like Brian Coogler gets a lot of love because he did other things than Black Panther, and like so on and so forth.
Black Panther, that's like an Academy nomination.
Specifically from us, from like what we were kind of coming from, is like we think of him higher than we would if we only made Black Panther. Like,
yeah, of course.
And like Chloe Zhao we brought up, where it's like, I'm not talking about Chloe Zhao because she made the Eternals, but it's like because I loved Hamnet. It's it's an interesting.
And then with this guy, it's like he directed episodes of Beef and Paper Towns.
Right.
So it's like what does that mean?
which he makes sense as a Marvel guy. Like that's kind of how their filmographies tend to look. Yeah, but again, I'm thinking like with X-Men.
Even if you look back, they got Joss Whedon, who I'm not saying Joss Whedon's like a great guy, but he's a guy that you go out to get. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
What does that mean?
Like this, where like Joss Whedon wasn't directing Marvel movies before Avengers. They went and got Joss Whedon to pull it off. Like,
right. Well, it's like Joss Whedon's more of like a TV writer guy.
Well, yeah. He wrote comic books and TV shows.
Right.
Yeah.
But he just
wrote,
feels
like,
aligned with
like successful TV shows, of the 2000s.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which they did. Like Alan Taylor is like a TV guy. They did get like they weren't getting a lot of those guys, which makes sense because like the MCU is glorified, just a big television show with like the Kevin Feige and being like the showrunner of those things, and
doing kind of a bad job.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. It's an interesting.
If you were Kevin Feige, who would you go out?
Yeah, like X-Men.
X-Men.
okay, there was a rumor like a while ago, and I don't like this would never happen, and I feel like the fact that it was a rumor was crazy. But like Jordan Peele has been rumored for some of these projects, like Blade and X-Men and stuff like that. And it's like if you would get Jordan Peele, like you'd get Jordan Peele, but I
That's
don't
crazy,
expect that
bro.
to be.
That's so
But he has. It's
Yeah,
like
that's
that's
nuts.
someone who has
Yeah,
been
yeah,
rumored
yeah.
to do these things. And it's like imagine if Jordan Peele came out at D23 and was like, "I'm directing X-Men, and here's my X-Men."
That
The
shit
hype would
break
be
the internet,
the
bro.
roof, the roof, right? So,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I mean, I don't know who's a like I was gonna say like who's a something like it was more likely. I'm not sure.
Because
Yeah, I
even
feel
Um,
like you just get like a competent action director and like call it a day.
well, no, the thing
Like,
is like Sam Raimi, like he could like theoretically get Sam Raimi to do this first
right.
X-Men movie, but would you even want to? You know, like
Mhm.
I don't know, like
Yeah, I
from
mean,
their perspective or
from
from
there, yeah.
ours.
If you were Kevin
I
Feige,
would rather have him than Jake
like
Schreier.
No, but I get what Doug's saying, which is that like
Oh, like
is getting Sam Raimi like actually worthwhile
getting Sam
for
Raimi just for the first X-Men movie, like really, you know what I mean? I don't
yeah,
know.
I think that's worthwhile. I do think it's worthwhile just because like I think the X-Men are the selling point. I don't think Jake Schreier is. I think the people
Right.
who see that movie are going to see that movie. I think Sam Raimi just makes it more exciting for people who might not want to see the movie. Where I think also I think it is kind of like a thing where like you have to do it right, but also the floor is kind of really high. I just
For
think the
the
movie's going to
X-Men,
be a bit. Yeah, I just think the movie's
yeah.
going to be a big deal, no matter what. Um, it's like
All of the
it's
X-Men
kind
movies
of
were
like
big deals.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like just what are the important things for you, and I think it's just kind of the way that these things work is like, well, you did a good job on Thunderbolts, so like you can do a good job here. And
sure.
it almost is like Thunderbolts is like a test run because like this movie's kind of like that floor is a lot lower, right? Where it's like the Thunderbolts could really be a stinker and no one cares about it. It makes more it kind of is more like the TV stuff they've been doing. It to me it feels like so that being a success and people really liking that gave them all the confidence they needed to be able to be like, all right, if you do something that's an actual
Yeah.
like real A-list property, who the sky's the limit there. So I understand it from their point 100%. It's just not very exciting on my end, I guess.
I know, but I'm
If
like, so like they're going to do. It's the next thing. There's gonna be X-Men movie and a bunch of X-Men movies after that,
yeah.
right? Would you even want the first one to be a standout with like you have Sam Raimi and bring in like a Sam Raimi house style, and then like you gotta get somebody else to do the second one, you
But
know?
why can't Sam
Yeah,
Raimi do
I
the
think
why can't Sam
I
Raimi
think
do the
that's
next
fine.
one?
Because why would Sam Raimi want to do all of those, bro? Why
No,
would you have to
Yeah.
I think you should get a standout and then you just have to like I don't know. If I'm Kevin
Oh, right.
Feige,
Like Jordan Peele's probably not doing 3 of those or something. But
yeah,
yeah.
but if I'm Kevin
Ryan
Feige,
Coogler
I'm
did
like
3, or he's doing 3. So it's
But like Black Panther's its own
short.
thing because it's like he's like that's the black superhero.
But I
You know
feel
what I
like
mean?
you could find a guy who like just like I do. I just think X-Men is strong enough of a property where I could see them finding a guy who's like maybe too good for it, but it's like it's X-Men, so I'm like totally down. Like that makes more sense. Like it makes more sense to me that they can find a guy who's like too qualified, who's like just like I would do 3 X-Men movies, than like them doing that for like some random superhero. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Okay, other than
Yeah.
Sam Raimi, Ryan Coogler, or Jordan Peele, is there anybody else that you can even think of?
if it's me and I'm Kevin Feige, I'm writing $100 million check. I'm taking $100 million aside. No, really, because they have this money. I'm writing $100 million check and I'm giving it to James Cameron and telling him instead of making another Avatar movie, you make our first X-Men movie, set up that
Just
world,
the
and
first
then
one.
and then you write 3 other like $10 million checks for directors who are not as good as James Cameron, but like pretty good, and being like, okay, I want you on set for when James Cameron directs our first X-Men movie.
Oh wait,
And
that's
then
good. You had them on
and
set.
then you get those people to start making the next movies in your universe.
You know what?
James Wan,
Oh yeah, duh.
right?
Or that.
Yeah.
Like he did 2 Aquaman movies. He wouldn't do.
James Wan's never done an ensemble picture before.
but I feel like he would. It just feels like there's a horrorness to the X-Men,
Yeah, it's
right? Like
horrifying.
where their bodies are like.
Did Charles Melton drop out? Is that confirmed?
I think
Or was he
Basically
never
he's
confirmed as
it's
Beast?
well
Yeah,
he
he
was
was
like
never- it was
he was
only,
like
like,
Kaylee
rumored, I
Savani.
think.
It's a rumor thing. There's no Beast news. It was kind of like there's rumors of him being like, I need more money for this.
Oh, okay.
And like I think it makes sense because he's a character that would like there's prosthetics involved and all that stuff, and like it feels like he's not going to do it
It would
at
be
this
awesome if
point.
he did, to be honest. It would be a crazy cast.
That'd be
Yeah,
sick.
but
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, let's quickly talk about some other news and before we wrap up. Jacob Elordi is in talks to star opposite Scarlett Johansson and Ari Aster's Scapegoat.
Ari Aster's the goat.
Bang, bang, bang. I remember when this came out, we were like, who can play this character? We were like talking about like Nicholas Galatzine or something. Which like he would have been good.
I
but,
like
this
that
is
guy.
like
He's
no,
no
no,
Jacob Elordi, but
no, but it's like this is like best. I feel like this is like best case scenario cast.
Everybody wants to work with Ari Aster still, for somehow. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying somehow
Everyone's
because it's like I
favorite
think
movie
like
is Hereditary.
yeah, people love Hereditary so much that it's just like
yeah, it's like
carried over into
he has
everything
goodwill
made
for like
since.
ever in terms of like the Gen Z cast.
Yeah,
like they will do anything for that man.
Yeah,
Which is
not even just the
perfect,
Gen Z
because
cast. I mean, Pedro Pascal, like
Sure.
Well,
Yeah,
he has
I
that
mean-
beautiful relationship with fucking Bo.
Joaquin Phoenix, sure,
Joaquin
yeah.
Phoenix.
Yeah. I just meant Joaquin Phoenix to me was just like a given. Like it's like that's just a guy that's like, you know, he clearly likes Ari Aster
Right.
a lot, but yeah, I think he could just like get whoever to be in his movies probably for a while, kind of regardless of if anybody
he almost
watches
like
them or not.
almost in like a way that like Wes Anderson has this sort of
Yeah, I was
like
gonna say that.
there's like this like respect level where it's like the actors really respect him and he's someone that like it's not a money sort of Oscar thing. It's like I just want to be in that guy's world, which is cool.
I do wonder like what would happen if he made like back-to-back Eddingtons though. Like would it, like do you think that Good Grace would just, like
this is
no, I know.
right
That's what I'm
now.
saying. Like I'm saying, like if this movie with Jacob Elordi and Scarlett Johansson, like nobody watches it, is that Good Grace gonna last for like a while, or are people gonna like, or is he gonna have to like have a?
I think
lesser star
people. Well, I immediately I thought of M. Night and sort of the trajectory of his like cast becoming smaller and smaller names. So I could see it. I could see it happening where like he's not working with like the S tier names, but still
Yeah, they're gonna
able
be
to
good
make-
actors. I
Right.
just mean,
He's
like,
never gonna like.
stars.
I don't think Ari Aster. I think he has enough goodwill where like he will be able to make movies for the rest of his life, or like at least like a long time, and like be fine. But I could see a world where like they get smaller names because of that happening, but it would have to take a couple. And I think the difference with M. Night and Ari Aster in this kind of talking point is like people still like Eddington, and like that movie was like not like people were like this is a horrible movie and you need to die. I think
actors probably really like that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I don't think he's dropped off really much in terms of anything, and I just think it's quite small in all things considered at this point.
I also feel like, I don't know, maybe it's optimistic, but I'd imagine that this movie with Scarlett Johansson and Jacob Elordi will be a lot more marketable than Eddington. Like I feel like it's not hard to imagine it making a lot more money.
Yeah, we'll see.
But who knows? I don't know. Alden Ehrenreich has been cast in Joseph Kosinski's Miami Vice 85 alongside Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler.
It's a fun.
I mean, really great guys. It's just like Kosinski is like the worst part of all of this. Which like he's not like the worst guy in the world. I just think like everything about this news or this information is like A+ stuff. And then
Yeah,
I'm
if it was
well,
like a better director,
then
it's
he's like if this was like Michael Mann, obviously he wouldn't do another. But like imagine Michael Mann's Miami Vice with these guys is like a much. I don't know, but I don't know who I would want doing that. I think it'll be fine.
I think it'll be good. I'm excited.
I think I'll enjoy this movie probably quite a bit, if I'm gonna be honest. Like I feel like I'll like this movie a lot. The last piece of news, I'm gonna be honest, there's very little going on this week. Glenn Powell will reportedly play Gaston in Disney's Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, he's cooked.
No, are you? Do you have any Glenn Powell stock at all?
Not really.
Wait, no,
He's
doing the Linklater movie.
Yeah, that's
that
true.
movie's gonna be good.
But that's the thing is like he's probably just always gonna do Linklater movies.
No, I know, and like the thing with the stock is like, I think his, not to keep going back to the floor, I think his floor is kind of low or high. I think like he can always be around, and like I think he could show up and do a good job in things. His choices are weird, and like I think
his horrible taste.
So like I don't think
like.
Yeah, I'm like, who's?
I think a lot of actors have horrible taste, so it's like
when we talked about
like, sorry,
he's just like never gonna be maybe who we thought he might be, but like I think he will always be around and be fine and be good.
When we talked about How to Make a Killing, did we do like an old school comparison for Glenn Powell? Or like
that was a long time ago.
I know. I'm just wondering. I'm like, who was like Glenn? Because I know we've done like basketball comparisons, but I'm like, who was like Glenn? like Glenn Powell as a movie star today? Like what? Like who's the equivalent of him like 30 years ago or something? I wonder.
I don't know.
I don't know. Something to think about.
But
yeah, I'm like looking at no, looking at his filmography is pretty bleak. I don't know. I don't want to say I have zero stock in him, but I have, very little. If I was like, if it was a percentage of my whole portfolio, Glenn Powell's taken up, 0.01%.
I just sold my tiniest amount of Glenn Powell stock that I was holding as a token. I sold it for the Marvel stock that I had now been holding it all.
When you say Marvel stock, do you specifically mean this new X-Men movie, or you're just investing in Marvel as a whole?
No, just this X-Men movie.
Okay, I see. I think that's actually probably a smart investment strategy. I know we talked a couple of weeks ago about what was it that we should do the most powerful directors list, and I think actually people commented that we should do that, so maybe we will. But
it would be so.
But now
people would like it.
Now you're making me wonder if we should do an episode where we invest in actors for the future, and just like everybody gets a percentage of like this amount that you spend. It would be a very complicated game to make.
It would be so complicated.
Yeah. But I feel like we could pull that off. Maybe. It'll be a project. It'll be.
It's difficult. It's difficult because I think I just it ebbs and flows so quickly. I think like.
But I'm saying kind of like something of like an auction-y draft.
No, I know.
I devote this much to this actor and this much to this actor, and like
the
more money you spend on an actor, the more it's worth.
It's fascinating because I mean we can get more into this when we talk about Tony, but like I think watching that movie, I'm like Dominic Sessa is such an interesting guy where I have no idea what the future looks like for him. Where I'm like he's in movies and people know who he is and he's pretty good at it.
It's a wild card.
But what is the next 10 years look like for this guy? I have no idea.
In the X-Men movie.
Honestly,
there's still time.
I mean, there's still time. There's still cast members that haven't been announced.
There's still time.
Be Beast.
That's be crazy.
He's gonna be Wolverine.
Honestly.
He's so tall.
What are they doing? Is Wolverine just like they gotta
take a break. They gotta take a break.
For the timeline, for like the more modern X-Men kind of reading, the timeline that they're on, Wolverine would be older. So like all these kids, all the X-Men are pretty young. So Wolverine would be introduced like afterwards. The question is, are they even gonna do Wolverine at all? Because Hugh Jackman's gonna show up in fucking Doomsday again.
Right.
Yeah, but so are all like Cyclops and all those guys.
I know, but Hugh Jackman also was in Deadpool and Wolverine, and I don't know. It's like when is Hugh Jackman gonna stop? Like you have to put Hugh Jackman to bed.
Right, but I don't like he can't.
Somehow
what would he do after Secret Wars? Like how would he show up again?
I don't know. I don't know. I think that.
Right?
I don't know. The fact that he's showing up again after Logan, which is a movie where he dies, is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they die and they come back. I know.
Yeah, they do that. They do that all the time.
Just like you and McGregor.
You get like 9 lives for these.
Wow.
That's like actually my least favorite thing about these movies is that like nothing matters.
No, nothing matters. No one really dies.
Like that's the thing where I'm like from so many perspectives,
killed,
I can understand why like somebody who's not me is really into Marvel movies. I get like I from so many perspectives, I can understand why this is like entertaining and important to you. I truly like can't wrap my head around how people are comfortable with like investing so much in a franchise where there are just like no stakes after 30 movies. Like I just feel like that's like really where you should be like genuinely upset about things a little bit if you're like such a huge fan of these things. But I don't know. That's whatever.
True.
Next
Anyway,
week, we're probably doing Tony and Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma.
correct. Episode
Probably.
179
Death
next
with
week.
Tony.
Tentatively, we're doing 2 movies. As Doug mentioned. We'll see you later.